Hello and welcome to Munchies, a Del Hope Media and Life is Pain production.
Today, we're going to be making some Strombolis, or stuffed mini pizzas, as some people call them. As you can see here, we've got the finished product. I'm playing with some melted cheese and some grease. I've got a frosty brew beside me.
Not gonna lie, that looks really good.
Oh yeah, these Strombolis have been stuffed with spinach, tomato sauce, mozzarella, salamis. Oh yeah, look at all that gooey cheese. Alright, to start, we're going to use some Fleischmann's pizza crust yeast, a little bit of water, a little bit of oil, some sugar, some flour. After we're done mixing all this up, we're going to leave it alone for about 45 minutes to let the dough rise. We're going to start by adding 1 of the 2 cups of flour that we're going to use for this mix, along with the yeast and the warm water and the oil and the sugar. We're going to do 1.5 teaspoons of sugar and about 1 teaspoon of salt, maybe a little bit more. We add in that warm water, 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil, and we mix it all up. We'll add the other half of the flour later. I get this into a nice warm slurry to mix it all up. You don't want clumps in this kind of stuff. It would be really bad. You could use an electric mixer or your hands. It would probably be easier with either of those. We're going to add the rest of the flour now to finish this dough. I'm going to switch to my hands here in a little bit because the dough starts sticking to the spoon a little bit too heavily. Here we go. It's starting to look a little bit more like pizza dough, as you can see. Keep adding that 1 cup of flour. We're gonna add a little bit more. We want it to be a little bit on the flakier side rather than on the doughier side, just because we're gonna fill this. We don't want weak pizza dough. All right, now we're gonna crush some garlic and mince it. You can do this technique to shell the garlic. I've already shelled these, but I like to crush it to mince it up a little bit easier. We've got some other items on the table that are going to be used in the next video.
More like smash the garlic.
Yeah, I did. Alright. Just going to mince that up real nice. So for these onions, we're going to do pretty standard preparation. I cut about halfway to 3/4 of the way down into the onion. I'm going to make a nice little cross-hatched pattern so that it's easier to dice. Dice is real nice and uniform in little cubes. And there it is. I'm going to chop the other half of the onion by just cutting it like a giant pie. I do this because although I could dice the other half, I like to have 2 different sized onion pieces. Gives you 2 different flavors in the dish. Onto the tomatoes. I'm going to dice these tomatoes. I'm not going to core them. Some people like to squeeze out the insides to get all the juice out, but we want the juice because we're making tomato sauce. And same thing on the other half of the tomato. And there's a diced tomato. And mushrooms. You can add more mushrooms than we do. We just put a small amount. Mushrooms are not the main part of the dish. They're just there to add flavor and some nutrients. I cut these mushrooms into slices and then I half the slices so that they're all more or less the same size and they cook evenly. If your mushroom pieces are uneven, your smaller pieces will end up kind of slimier and your larger pieces will end up well done. No one likes slimy mushrooms. Alright, we're going to add the spinach and a little bit of tomato paste and some water. Then we're going to put it all in a pot and we're going to simmer it for the remaining time that the pizza dough is rising. And this will make a delicious spaghetti-like sauce, marinara sauce if you will. I also added some basil, some bay leaves for seasoning, although you don't actually have to add any other seasoning to this if you don't want to. It's pretty well seasoned as is. Now for the actual calzone, we're gonna flour our nice marbled cutting surface. Gotta spread out that flour so we don't want the dough to stick. Get it on your hands, same reason. We've got our Italian style blend over there and some salami. Gonna take a nice solid handful, just about the size of your hand cupped. Throw it down, get some flour on both sides and spread it out. Make sure you don't have any holes in your spread. It's nice and even. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be weird shaped. As you can see, I'm not the best at spreading. This attempt, I made some holes. Alright, now you add a little bit of that Italian style cheese. Just a nice layer of that. Maybe a quarter of a cup. You're going to put it on half of it. Ignore what I'm doing in the video. I make this one like a weird pouch, but the ideal way is to just put it on half and then fold it over. And you're going to put the salami on top. Again, only on half of it. You could put it on the whole thing and do it like I did. Just make sure you do a better job of spreading your dough. And a nice ladle of sauce. And then you fold it up. So if you've done it on only half of the thing, you can fold one half over the other and then boom, your Stromboli is done. If you did it this way, you have to fold it up into a pouch. If you don't have any holes, it'll stay together. Mine had some holes. This one didn't work. But the other ones did. Look at that. Delicious finished product.
And this has been Munchies, a Del Hope Media and Life is Pain production.